Hey guys, and welcome to another week of Dinks with Kinks. Before we get too far into this episode, any far in this episode, I want to know you guys are following us on that social media. I need to hear from the people. We need more kinks to cover. We need feedback, how we can make this show better. So follow us on that social media at Dinks with Kinks on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Come
Be
give us a
social
shout.
on the media.
Social media. I am your host, John Dondero, and with me, the other fellow dinks. They're going to sound off like they got a pair.
Oh, why? Why?
Miss Rebecca.
Why? Hello.
And
why do we
the
let you
man
talk?
who has extensive experience in tonight's subject, Mr. Shep.
Ooh.
Say what? I mean, good evening. Hello.
No, I actually got onto Shep right before this recording. We were upstairs, and he was making some food before we came down to record. He goes,
Cuddling.
"Yeah, always. Well, always cuddling."
Always.
And he was
Okay.
like, "You know,
It's the
at
extra
the
spice on the food, you know? Gotta spice up the food with some cuddles.
He's like, at the last fetish party was at the end of the night, we were talking to somebody we mutually know, and they started talking about sounding, and I perked up, and I was like, oh, so you have firsthand experience. He goes, oh, no, I wasn't listening. And I was like, Shep, we're a fetish podcast. You got to be like, tell me everything you know. We're eventually going to have to cover that.
And
But
here we are.
I heard some sounds I didn't want to hear. That's all.
No. Okay, so guys, tonight we're talking about sounding. And before this week, I was incredibly uncomfortable by this fetish.
I don't know anything about this fetish.
But that's it. That's the thing. I was uncomfortable because I knew nothing. I knew the very basic. Sounding is when you take a surgical steel rod, which is called a sounder, and I mean rod, it's very thin, and insert it into the male urethra. Like a catheter. Urethra. 1, 2, 3. Expositionism. Where were you guys? You guys dropped the ball there.
I'm right here.
Yeah, right over here.
Right here.
Why are you throwing the ball to yourself?
I know. All right, guys.
You tossing it in the air, watching it fall.
That's all I knew about it, and it really did. It's like just the thought of that made me like curl up and cringe. I was like, "Oh no, that's the worst thing ever." But then, as we do on this show, I started researching, not just Pornhub searches. I will say this fetish was really hard to research, not because it makes me cringe. I just couldn't find a lot of information on it, but so I dug, and I found some good info, and now I'm kind of excited about this fetish.
You dug deep in those peens.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I was up in it. I was the sounding rod, and I was in the urethra. I now emerge from the urethra, filled with knowledge.
So what you're saying is
you're full of something.
You're pee.
I'm P. Yes.
No, he's
You
shit.
emerged. No, you emerged from the peen, so, you know.
Listen,
True.
different episode. So that's my question. Have you guys ever heard of sounding before? Like I said, we're doing
No.
it.
No, never.
Yes. Maybe.
No, don't say maybe. You've heard of it.
Maybe.
So, Rebecca, I'm going to assume you've just never seen or experienced any of that.
No, I have not. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to learn something tonight. I was sort of excited. I get to learn
Yeah.
something.
Absolutely.
All that,
Shep-
all that musical stuff in your life, and you never sounded off a peen.
I have not.
The final
I have not,
frontier
which is-
of instruments.
Right? I am actually, that's why I'm sort of excited. I'm like, I don't know. Shep is looking awful disturbed right now, John.
I know. Listen, he just doesn't know what I know. He doesn't know the information that I have.
So enlighten us.
All right. So this fetish is actually incredibly intimate. Like,
You
I always
think?
thought this was... No, I'm not thinking. I know for a fact that this fetish is incredibly intimate. It's one of those things where you don't just do it because you were just that level of freak.
I don't like
goes,
that word.
You were just that kinky.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Better explanation.
Thank you.
And it's not just straight up getting like having a catheter put in. There goes a lot more into this process. Every report I have read says, one, it is like something that it has this super level of trust. Because you are...
Because it's damage. Okay, don't give
No.
me that look. Don't. Okay, all right. Sorry. No. You don't get to give me that look while you're trying to explain something because you actually feel like you know something. All right. No. All right. I am contributing to the conversation. So, no.
I can give you whatever looks I want to. So...
To be prepared for the consequences, sir.
I'm never prepared for anything except for this podcast.
Continue. I'm sorry.
This is one of those kinks where you absolutely do it as a sign of trust. This is not something that you have to have trust to do. This is a sign that you do trust. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like,
I'm a
I know
son.
we're
Of
just
course,
mad,
I know that.
but would you put this rod down my rod? Thank you.
yeah, this is not something you call a prostitute to do.
I can imagine that it's along the same lines of as a sub when you are doing things like knife play or anything, fire play, anything that can hurt you.
Yes.
It's imagining. I can honestly 100% see that where it's here. I trust you enough that this is something I'm really into, and I trust that you're not going to hurt me
Do you, though?
unless I ask you to.
And while I thought a lot of this fetish, and like I said, I had a lot of trouble researching this. So if I am completely wrong in everything I say tonight, find us on that social media and correct me and teach me. I want to know more. But from what I've seen, a lot of this isn't so much the physical sensation of having it done, but the doing to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because a lot of times with these fetishes, you're like, well, I enjoy having this done to me. This is more of a I enjoy doing this to somebody type fetish.
Yeah, and also the giver can also get something out of it because it's kind of like the reverse penetration scenario.
No, and that's absolutely what it is. A lot of this is watching. It's kind of like vor. You guys remember when we covered vor and the act of eating, and a lot of people get off on watching it happen. Like, this is very like voyeuristic style. I'm doing this to you, and I'm watching this rod insert into your penis, and that's exciting me because a lot of the concepts I said, as far as the stimulation goes, it doesn't really feel like anything.
I love how both Shep and I both got like, what, really? Like, that's the look on our face that we both went, huh?
100%. It was that. I mean, that was my when I read that. I was like, "What?" And they're like, "It tingles a bit,
Yeah.
Just a
but
bit,
it's
but not
no.
just the tip. The full shaft.
no." They said it's not a lot of stimulation. It is more the act than anything.
Not even with a tuning fork? Where you're tuning that rod?
Now, here comes a play when we talked about electro play. This was really popular with a TENS unit. You attach a TENS unit to the scrotal area, and as you insert the rod in, you could feel the tingling on the inside. I love the facial expressions you guys are giving me right now.
No, I'm okay. My facial expression is I am honestly the image going through my mind is that happening. And it's of curiosity more than anything because I have a TENS unit. I know what a TENS unit feels like. I also have had a catheter. I sort of know what that sensation feels. And now, honestly, I don't know what it's like to have a penis. But
Who knows?
I'm actually, the look on my face was this curious trying to imagine that sensation, how different that sensation would be. Like, that's what my facial expression was. I don't know about Shep's.
No.
But,
No, I mean, that's
what I
it.
was actually just like, interesting.
It is the same facial expression I had with reading it. It was more or less. I don't want to say shock, but it was like shock, but not in a bad way. Like shock of curiosity. Like I did not see that coming. It was a twist. Ooh, what a twist!
What the twist?
And like, okay, so here's a live statement of like an article I read. Somebody said this. Somebody named Tony said, "I like the intimacy of it. I like the expression on a woman's face the first time she sees my cock swallow a shiny steel rod. And I like the challenge of it. Like, how big can I go?" But this is the same person who said like it doesn't really have a sensation. It is just he likes it done to him. And witnessing it, it's like that's what really does the excitement. This is such a voyeuristic fetish, and I did not see that coming when I started researching this because I thought this was more about like pain play or medical fetish. But no, this is absolutely 100% a voyeuristic, or at least what I've seen, a voyeuristic fetish of witnessing the act.
With good vibrations.
Either done to them or watching someone have it done to them.
Okay, well, the only thing that I can honestly think of equating it to on the feminine side of it is, you know how you see these women put in these very, very large objects into themselves in whatever
Gaping.
orifice. Yes, like the large, you lose sensation after a certain point. Like it gets so large, it's just sort of like a numbness. So it's more like the feeling of the sensation of being full. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And I honestly, it shocked me. And I think this comes down, last week we talked, 2 weeks ago we talked about oral. And just sometimes the act of, and like that's what I would equate it to. Like you giving head.
yes.
It's not so much the sensation, it's the act of and the witnessing of it. If you see someone doing something like that, you're like, that is hot. Or I'm doing this and that's even hotter. Or this is being done to me and I'm really into this. And I've not seen that with a lot of fetishes. I was completely wrong on this fetish.
I don't know. Here's oh well, we're not at the would you part.
No, we're not, but because we still have to talk about doing it safely and
Yes.
like. So I
And,
was
the
kind of.
tuning, and what about the tuning fork to bring the sounding into it?
I honestly didn't see that much about it. The sounding I was wrong. The sounding is not the tuning fork. The rods themselves are called sounding rods. They're medical. Yeah, I thought tuning forks too. That was my initial thought, and I'm sure people do use it, and
Yes,
similar
yes,
to
they do.
yeah, similar to like the TENS unit, but I thought that was a big proponent of this fetish. And from the research I have, I was like, it's one of those side things. Like, I like cake, but I really prefer cherry cheesecake.
Gotcha.
That's a horrible analogy, but that's the one I picked, and here we are.
So sounding is now cherry cheesecake?
No, sounding is cake. Hitting it with a tuning fork is cherry cheesecake.
Gotcha.
It's fun for the whole family. But I think a lot of people got into this because they wanted to try something new. This is not something that you just don't we talk about like the origins of where this where kinks arise. Like either through media or, wires being crossed, just like that's how you're wired. A lot of times when people discover this fetish, it's because it's introduced and, they want to try it because they just heard it. I don't think this is one of those fetishes where this is hardwired to me. I think they were just on that path of exploration and it became something they tried because they were open to trying it and then enjoyed it thus far.
So, basically an advanced level kink?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we have the we have like the introductory kinks, like the fetishes or the
bondage,
whatever.
like
bondage. But like this is like next level kink. That's so like advanced kink is it? So next level kink. So you're exploring and you're going to that next level.
Kink 102.
Well,
102.
Perhaps because I've heard about sounding and everything else, and that has a small rod and everything else. But I've also had the pleasure to witness things on the internets back in the day of a guy squeezing 2 AAA batteries out of his urethra. So things get bigger, and they've been doing strange things for a while, even there.
Well, absolutely, but I think
that's the first time I saw a battery-operated dung that was a real dung.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely, there is expanding on that fetish, but this, from what I have found, that this is not like I got right into, like, this is my kink, my jumping off part. I want to try this first. Yeah. This was, I am into the S&M the BDSM lifestyle, and it was introduced to me via the BDSM lifestyle. Not like I got into the
or the not like, oh no, I fell down and impaled my penis, but I think I like it.
I mean, pretty much.
Thank you. What just happened?
I think I got a follower on Twitch. So my lights just, announced. I don't know if that sound is going to make it to the recording. So if you guys hear a thank you, that was somebody following me on Twitch.
That was like the perfect timing for that too. If it does.
I thought Shep had done that. Like, I thought he pounded his desk and said, thank you. And I'm like, all right, there we are. We're into that.
I mean,
okay.
I will pound under it and I will pound above it, but I will not pound it. No, my desk not.
No, I think this is one of the first fetishes that we've really talked about that was like a second level fetish.
I think so too. Like, this is not one of those ones that is like, it's sort of but it's very specific. Like, it's not one of those interwoven into, you sort of stumble into. You don't stumble into this one. This is one that you make.
You could fall and get impaled. I mean,
Yes, but this is.
But this is much more than just that. This is much more in depth to have this done. Because, like, okay, I got into BDSM because I enjoy spanking somebody or being spanked. That's why I got into BDSM. This is more of a fetish that I am into BDSM. I'm already here because I like spanking, and then I got into the BDSM lifestyle. Now I want to try this fetish.
You leveled up.
I leveled up. Bing! Level 2, kinky bastard.
Never been much of a spanking person.
Oh, honey. Oh.
I have the floggings. I had the floggings and everything else for that.
So much fun though. It's so intimate. Palm against. Yeah.
I'm real into spanking.
I have the gentle massage therapist hands though.
He does. There's something super satisfying about being bent over and
and there's something about
make some exceptions.
Bending over a very lovely partner and slowly. Okay, we're not getting into that. We're talking about sounding. But
sound off like you got a bear.
This is also, with this being a second level kink, I highly suggest doing your research. If this is how you discover this fetish, do your research and find somebody who already knows how to do this. Don't try this
Yes,
on your
please.
own. Watch
You could do
videos.
damage.
You can absolutely do damage. Everything from causing urinary tract infections to tearing or damaging your urethral tube. And that can cause serious damage to your entire body just through those tears because they become infected.
Just say no to the nail gun. No
nail
to the
guns.
nail gun.
But you can easily find tutorial videos. I did. I found them. I found out how to do them. There's even a documentary. Was at one point in time on Netflix called Kink, and they talk about it.
I loved that, and they took it down. It was so good.
But there are ways to find out that information. So absolutely, go out there and find out how to do it correctly. If this is something you want to try, I highly encourage you. I think this is something very intimate and very fun to try.
And it might help you raise that note level a little bit too. Oh.
All right, guys. Now
That's not how that works, gentlemen.
Now comes
just in case you wanted to know.
It doesn't work that way.
I want to
Now
know.
we're going to get to the would you do this? And I want to start with Shep tonight. Shep, would you either sound or be sounded by your partner?
I don't think I have the interest in this one. I mean, it's not a fearful, stay away from me, oh my God thing, but I just,
Yeah.
I'm
Your
not
heart's not
stimulated.
in it.
Yeah. My peen's not in it. So therefore, it'll be not in my peen.
Yeah. All right, about Rebecca, would you do this for your partner? And I only say, would you do this for your partner because you don't have a peen?
You're correct.
I mean, they have attachments and things.
I was actually thinking about this all through this whole podcast, and I'm like, would I really? I don't know that I could, unless, just because, not that I feel like I have a lot of emotional hangups, so I would be afraid to hurt them. Like, it's not something that is common, and that is very next level. And honestly, this would be one where I'm like, I would look at my partner and go, I am totally okay with you finding somebody else to do this with. Like, you go and do, because I don't want to be the one to hurt them. I don't want it to be this would be one of those fetishes that if my partner were really into it, I'd be like, you know what, honey, it's okay. You go find somebody else. Not just if you want to do this, go do this with somebody who knows how to do it, because it's not going to be me.
You know what?
There are some good precautions in there.
Yeah, this is not about you're not interested in doing so. You're just not confident in your abilities to do so.
Without hurting them. And I would be one of those. I need you to go. I don't want to deny you this fetish. I don't want to deny you this enjoyment, something that you enjoy, but it is not something that I feel comfortable or safe with. I think that would be the difference. It's not that I don't want to provide it for them. It's just I don't feel safe doing it. So I would rather them go to somebody else and get what they need from somebody else that is going to be able to provide for them in a safe, healthy manner.
Yeah,
No,
just like if your partner has Tourette's, you may not want to inquire about doing this with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, I don't think I could get behind this one.
It's more of an in front of thing.
No, I mean, I've learned so much about this kink, and I have a new understanding and appreciation for it, but I don't think I could get into the right mental headspace to appropriately appreciate this. Because, I mean, even after knowing all that I know, and I think it's an absolutely fantastic kink, I don't think, personally, I could get past the headspace that I'm in with it. And, I mean, that's okay. It doesn't mean that I think anyone is wrong for doing so. And, God, I am impressed that they have been able to find something that they enjoy to this, attitude. But not for me.
I think I like the fact that it's a trust thing. Because as a sub, like, and for me, just as a person, that's important. And considering that this is such a next level, like somebody putting their entire like this that amount of trust in me and to want to share that experience with me, that's awesome. I just don't know if I would trust myself. Bless them for trusting me enough, but I don't know if I trust myself because I don't know if I trust myself enough. you know?
Well, John trusts you, and I trust in you. So I'll trust in you to maybe not hurt John. Hey,
Put
John,
a rod in my
volunteer?
peen, Rebecca.
What?
Put a rod in my peen. I'll let you do it. Because I say always try everything once. So I would try this. I can't say that I would enjoy it, but this is something I think I could try. If I really trusted the individual, it would probably be a very tense situation, but yeah, I trust you, Rebecca. I would let you do this.
Aww.
You see,
All right.
it's not even a trust thing because, my main worry about it is that I spent many years perfecting my stream techniques. So putting things in my urethra, does that mess up my stream?
I don't think so.
My angles?
I would just be afraid that
Both of you. Both of you tonight. Both of you got an eye roll tonight. Both of you did.
All right, here, listen. My biggest fear is I would sneeze during.
Oh.
Yeah, right? There I am. All right, guys. It's time to talk. It's time to find out what we're talking about next week. We've only got 2 things left on our wheel before we replenish the wheel. 2 things left. Are you guys excited? I'm excited to see the new wheel. I'm excited to see the new format and kind of.
Oh, am I on the wheel?
You will be.
I mean, do you want to be on the wheel?
Are we gonna take a whole episode talking about me?
I'd do it. I would do it in a heartbeat.
I feel like I was through that episode once before.
You know what? I think that we should do that. I think we should put each of us on the wheel, and that episode we just talk about that person and their kinks and their self-discovery path. That will go on the new wheel. We'll each be there. And
God bless it. I had to open my big freaking mouth.
And Shep and both of you are going to hate every second of that because the minute it lands on you, you're like, crap, that's a whole episode dedicated to me? I don't want that.
20 questions takes 2.
Yep.
Do I have to be clothed for that one?
Nope. Well, maybe. We might be live streaming then.
Oh, okay. I'll be fully clothed, head to toe.
All right, guys.
Well, maybe just head to waist, maybe something.
Next week.
I mean, people like your feet, so maybe some naked feet at least.
Yeah, we could do feet shots. I like that.
Feet cam.
Guys, are you guys a fan of Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Oh, I know. I already know.
So that's why I just said yes.
Probably one of the best movies, best Jim Carrey lines ever. Smoking. Next week we're talking about smoking fetish, and no, we're not talking about like being lit on fire and then put out. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We're going to be talking about being used as a human ashtray. We're going to cover all the topics when it comes to smoking, and we do not condone smoking because it's bad for your health. But as far as
bad for your vajayjay too, because we've seen the smoking vajayjays as well.
And we have. So next week we're going to be talking about that. I'm actually excited about this one because this one really just. I've had some experience with this fetish. I've filmed clips where we've had people smoking, and it's just so mundane. I'm excited to see where the kink comes in. Does that make sense? Like as a producer side point, anything could be a kink, and that's what I love. I love doing kinks like that.
You rarely do, but we're still here for you.
I mean, you're right. All right, guys.
I don't know. We'll talk about it next week.
We will. Yeah, we're getting in next week. Remember, guys, follow us on that social media. This was a shorter episode because we couldn't just find that information. So if you know about sounding, please reach out to us. I would love to pick your brain. So if you hear this and you know somebody who's into sounding, one, get them to listen to this episode and tell us how wrong we are or right. And reach out to us on social media. Let us talk to you. Let us learn more. Let us expand our minds with kink. I am one of your hosts, John Dondera, and with me, as always, the very wonderful Miss Rebecca.
Oh, good evening. That was Very underwhelming.
Oh, I'm
Wow.
Would you like me to go
usually
bigger?
you do something like big and over the top. It's just it's very wonderful. Like you were closing a conference. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Good
I'm
night.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Should
No, that's,
was there
that's
not
fine.
enough
No, it's fine.
fanfare?
No, we're good. No,
Can-
no,
listen,
you're already done.
Can I not
You're
have
done.
a night
Yeah.
off? Do I have to be on all the time?
I'm on all the time.
I mean, I'm turned on, but I'm not here.
Well, that's why you got to give her praise. Remember?
I'll go. Listen,
Praise.
Oh yes, we know what praise. Maybe that's it. She just didn't get the
Yes.
satisfaction she needed with it. How
Right.
great she is,
See.
and amazing.
Okay, and with us also is Shep.
Yeah, there's a Shep right there. Look at that. That's Shep.
Look at Shep.
Talking
Look at
about
you.
how
He's
great
so
Rebecca
handsome.
is, and she is. She's a great person.
Till
She's
next
a
time,
fantastic person.
as we talk about how wonderful she is and beautiful, and yes,
Beautiful, stunning, simply
stunning, fabulous,
funny,
so joyful, and yes,
smart.
please, yes, that, yes.
All right, guys. Next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.